Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Q.U.B.E Director's Cut. I chose not to start the game in the menu because if we do that, then we get the loud ping. I'm going to try to avoid playing that anymore. So, we're 45 minutes basically in this game and I've already hit a level of difficulty I shouldn't have run into. That's the solution for that puzzle. It took me at least 15 minutes to try and figure that out. I guess I was probably just not understanding or grasping or holding in my mind the concept here that this would just shoot in that kind of an arc. I guess maybe I was thinking it would have hit here and not mattered. Meanwhile, let's see, we have this next puzzle, so there's a whole nother one of them. And some of this is definitely coming from a matter of momentum. Like this is about getting the ball to rotate the way it's supposed to. Alright, so when I do that, probably nothing's gonna happen. I'm not sure I really like this as a concept. The idea that you're supposed to understand momentum and make this more of a physics game in that style. Right. So yeah, ever so slowly, just by rotating it a couple times, we make it this way. And we have this again. We're done with that section, so hopefully that concept goes away and doesn't come back for a long time. It seems weird now that we're entering section 4. I thought it was in section 2.
Can you hear me? It's all for test.
Can you hear me? It's all a test. Like, no duh, it's a test. No duh. It seems weird that the main game would have 7 or 9 of these and now it's down to 6. But I'm pretty sure all the same puzzles. Maybe they moved some things around. And I can't for a second make the argument that you should play the original game and compare it. The original game is the equivalent of watching all the footage from a movie without any of the dialogue or any of the writing in it. So they're introducing holographic cubes, which then makes it questionable why they didn't exist before. And let's see what's going to happen here. We have a white ball, which then so the blue opens one and then it closes. Okay. Easy enough. This feels like a puzzle that probably should have forced you to solve it in a certain order. Like, it should have been yellow, blue, green, in my opinion. Yeah, that's how I would do it. Let's see. Unless this is just a case of once it goes blue, it won't turn yellow. Ah, it won't. Interesting. So they're introducing a new idea, and this glowing whiteness around it is nice. Like, all right, so let's do this again wrong, just for the fun of it. Red, blue should be purple, yellow should make it black. And if I was making this game, I would say black should go 3, 2, 1, boom, and just make an explosion and blow, maybe not through these walls, but at least make something loud and show that you've done it wrong and that black is always the wrong choice. Right, so we go over that. I guess when it's rolling slowly, I can pop it up like that. That's a little bit more timed more of a timed puzzle than I really expected to see in this game, because your controls are not quite tight enough for what I would like for something like that. Portal 1 was Portal and Portal 2 are great examples of having really tight controls because they're assumedly using a lot of the technology of Half-Life and Valve to get to that point. But this is an Unreal Engine game, so okay. I just teleported myself somewhere. So blue. I mean, this is almost exactly that, except for this. Interesting. It's probably too early to be doing this. Probably far too early to be doing this. Let's twist that again. Is this spinning? Not really. They seem like they have different colors on the sides of them. So basically I need to pull everything out and see what I can do with it. Yeah, I think I've probably definitely accidentally ended up putting myself in a place where I shouldn't be yet. But that was really easy too to get to, so I mean, I don't know how to really say there is that they made it too easy to find an Easter egg, clearly. I think this here. So we've got a yellow, I've got a red, and I think maybe I'm supposed to move this down this way. Maybe I'm supposed to spin this around like this. Nope. I mean, well, that does match some of this. I guess maybe what this is doing is this red piece is rotating to match this red piece, because I don't see any other way that what's on the ground here would match with that. Okay. And what I'm also not seeing very well is this. Let's see if maybe... No, not that. This. Does seem like we control these pieces very remotely. Okay. Let's move that direction. And then I think I just need to move that direction. And there's nothing you can do here. This still seems wrong though. Maybe there's one that just doesn't need to be around at all. We did it. Yay. What does that do? We got a sound effect. Does that mean I can just walk out through this wall? Yeah, it doesn't feel like you're just walking through the wall, although this looks like a very glitchy wall. It's totally teleporting you with the weird sound effects. Interesting. Little side experiment there, and I guess we'll have to keep an eye out for other side areas. Unlike Portal though, that we didn't see anything that would be the equivalent of the Rat Man, where we actually would get more backstory or anything like this. Look, here's a question. Since white includes all colors, does that count? No, it doesn't. Alright, so we need the blue to somehow be hit. That one doesn't even do anything. Is that just to spin the ball? I think that's what we're doing here. Is I think we're just spinning the ball. So wrong direction. Am I supposed to somehow... Oh, this does feel like it's a nightmare scenario. This feels like this is just gonna force me to find a vantage point where I can control all of this really quickly. So that gets it there. And then slows it down just for a brief second. And I can't rotate this part. So to get to the blue part, I kind of have to hit this part, hit a wall, fling it this way, and then once it gets in front of this, we can then hit that, but that's too far. I should have just left it alone. And see, I'd already said I kind of wished to not see any more puzzles like the previous puzzle, and this feels exactly like the previous puzzle. There seems to be very little friction in this physics simulator though, so at least that does something for us. By getting rid of the blue, at least now we have something we can work on. But it didn't take the blue cube with it, so yeah. And I can't flick this to get that direction. So I have to use this to move it. So pretty much this is useless at this point. Hit the wrong button. So that's gonna fling there, that's gonna fling there. And then at that point, I have to catch it. And it doesn't really matter anyways, because I've got to figure out some way to not fling it over in that direction. Maybe, just maybe this will bounce back. But the question would be, would it bounce back in that direction? And this would be stupidly easy. Yeah, it is. It must have hit an edge here and decided to go that way. This would be stupidly easy if I could just pick up the ball. Or influence it in any small way other than what I'm doing right now. Okay. So. I don't have a clue how this works. I guess I shoot it up this way and then hope that gets that way. Alright, well that worked. I bumbled through that. For a alleged spaceship that seems to love to design things with cubes, the angle inclusion really breaks that idea. If I was remastering this, like, I know this is a small kind of indie team here, but if I was remastering this, I would change all of these bricks into a completely different texture to show that it's a ramp, to show that it's at an angle, and that not all the walls need to be just white. Or even if they are it was a ramp texture of white, I would do something different. In the same way that this is different.
I'm back in range. Fingers crossed. Look, Mission Control think that if you have lost your memory, me just giving you little details about yourself won't be enough to spark anything. They want me to read something more specific. Something very personal to you. So, I want you to know, I'm only reading this because you wrote it to yourself. It was 3 p.m. on a Sunday. You were upstairs at home. A teenage boy broke into your house. He thought you were away on vacation. You went downstairs with your gun. You shot him in your living room. Only he wasn't trying to rob you. He was passing by and saw a fire in your kitchen. He broke in to try and put it out. He was young and stupid, and probably should have thought of a better solution. But you assumed the worst. You assumed the very worst, and you shot him. He was paralyzed from the neck down. He died 7 years later, alone, at night, in Penrose St. Francis Hospital. I'm orbiting out. I hope that helped you. Fingers crossed.
So, for a second there, that sounded like the start of the movie Stargate, not the TV series Stargate. Although it's kind of the same characters, but not canonically the same story. So, if that story is made up, if this is all a test for me and not just a general idea that the spaceship itself is a test, that would be a story definitely pointing out that something bad will happen if I assume what she's telling me is the worst. And something being a test inherently doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Like, if you were to make a modern sci-fi movie where a person has to go through a bunch of tests, humans assuming the worst probably could be their big downfall. In fact, there is actually an indie movie that I believe is called The Test that is very much about that, where a group of crazy crazy type A personalities are competing for like the best CEO job ever, and you don't know what you're supposed to do, because it just like there's very basic rules, like you're given a blank piece of paper and you're not supposed to deface the piece of paper, and so one of the persons immediately starts to write an essay explaining why they should be hired, and they're immediately eliminated. Alright, now this makes it more difficult. Now it is not just a test of your understanding of physics, it is a test of your understanding of color too. So we've got a kind of magenta purplish thing here. I assume that's just purple, so we're just gonna have to wait for that to roll through and go through that. And I'm probably getting this central area cleared off first is a decent thought. Now, blue and yellow is going to be difficult, because that means I'm going to have to get it over. Let's see, blue and yellow, blue and red. I mean, yellow and red makes orange. Let's try that first. So yellow. And just pulling that out will, I think, get it in there. Not too bad. So we just need yellow and red now. This is kind of a... This would... I did that wrong. If you get this, I suppose you'll get through this a lot faster than if you don't get it. Type scenario. Problem is the speed here. I need this and this set up so that I can hit this and then quickly hit this. Nope, go the other way. Then I need to quickly hit this one. Now we've got green. And so this is going to slowly move. And so I want this over here. So it avoids the red. And as a huge fan of the Myst series, there's a good argument to be made here to not listen to either voice speaking to me. But it's not like you really even have a choice. We're going to keep going through these puzzles until we break out of these puzzles. And at this rate, it feels like this is closer to maybe a 4-hour game unless I'm going to run into some very complicated puzzles or they're going to expand on the concepts more. Which I wouldn't be surprised if this is just kind of a shorter experience. And I probably don't want to know how much I spent on this game if this is a 4-hour experience.
You, listen. I know you can hear me down there. She's lying to you. She's a liar. You're not where they say you are. They'll leave you alone to die in the dark.
Ding, ding, ding. So, now that I have a central point that I can focus my camera on, let's just see how big this open area is that I'm in. It's long, but it's not particularly huge. And unless there's some kind of hidden thing in the wall, I don't think we're gonna do that. So if one is to believe the male voice, which I would argue probably just by default people would believe a male voice over a female voice, slightly, maybe 51% of the time. He's playing the long con, certainly. Like, all he's saying is don't believe what she's saying. He's not asking you to believe anything else. So red, blue, and yellow. See, if this got to the point where you could if this really got to a point where you could, oops. So everything else is here, it's just not lit up. Yeah, I don't know what he's specifically asking of me. So I'm just turning on the light switches. That's something, certainly. The thought that they have universal symbols is probably for ease of use and not for an indication that this is
lights on the outside
built
of the
by
cube have gone
humans.
dark. Mission Control think that's good. They say you must have hit it somewhere that hurts. So keep doing what you're doing. I know it's tough being alone out there. I've been alone here on the International Space Station for over a month. Going round and round and round the Earth. And after a while, it messes with your head. The truth is, if you leave a person alone in the dark long enough, they'll lose themselves. Damn. I'm orbiting out of range. Keep going. I'll be back soon.
Now, I don't know how often the International Space Station would orbit out of range for communication, because we don't also really know where this is allegedly supposed to be. But I do know basic things like the International Space Station is not a single man crew. that it shouldn't just be one person on it unless something has drastically changed, or and I don't know what would happen there. Why you would evacuate all but one person. Seems like we've got some more light puzzles we're gonna have to do. It's kind of nice to have a bit of a change there in this dark theme. Again, assuming the main game, the original version of this game, had none of this context, it would feel very weird. It felt very weird in the first 30 minutes. I also feel like we're just burning through this. So maybe the achievement for playing the game 500 times makes a little bit more sense. But not by much. Like, I can see a reason why I would want to play this 500 times, even though the first few sections. And I've already had to use the walkthrough once. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.